And so I think we may slowly but decidedly get over to our first speaker of this weekend sessions, Ling, which is actually also a storyteller. That's what I can read in her LinkedIn profile. Unfortunately, we didn't have the opportunity to meet each other live. It's the first time we meet today, but the thing, the passions about storytelling and about everything related to stories, that is obviously something that these first speakers in our session, our meeting, have in common. And she states herself as being an author, an educator, and of course, she had also the opportunity to speak in a vast audience. She was a TEDx speaker. So I'm very honored and welcome to our meeting. Ling, maybe you continue talking about yourself. Maybe I missed a lot of things about your person. Feel free and join us. Thank you very much for your presentation.
All right, thank you very much. Michele, am I pronouncing it correctly?
Michele, it's Italian,
Michele.
it's fine.
Yeah. Okay, you need to give me a bit of time. I'll get it eventually.
Take your time.
All right, okay. All right, first off, hi everyone. It's really nice to meet you. Thank you very, very much for that introduction. I spent a lot of time on that LinkedIn intro. It's nice to meet you guys, and it's nice to be here with you guys well, in Malaysia, it's the afternoon. I don't know where you guys are currently. And that brings me, I think, to my first question of the day before I start really getting into the speech. If that's all right, I'd like to know, we have 6 people here. If it's all right, I'd like to ask where the rest of you are from. If you don't mind, you can type where you are from in the chat and I can see. Or you can unmute yourself and chat, that's fine too. Singapore, all right, Singapore, okay, cool, not that far. Singapore, oh, everyone here, okay, so Suli, Sun Yen, Inek, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Ineke from Singapore.
Ineke.
Ineke, oh, that's so unique, I love it, Ineke.
Thank you.
All right, from Singapore, Switzerland, oh, and you're the mom of the 2 kids here, okay, cool, cool.
Hello.
Hello. Can sort of tell you guys are from Singapore because you guys have air conditioners right behind you.
Yep.
We don't need that here in Switzerland at the moment, at least.
Exactly. You cannot live in Southeast Asia. Well, you can. It won't be comfortable, you know, but exactly.
It's tough. It's
like,
tough.
No, yeah, it's tough. It's tough. All right, cool. So most of us here are from Singapore. Michele, right? Yes. Is from Switzerland. So, hi. I myself am from Malaysia. It's not that far from Singapore. We're like a 6-7 hour drive away. Yeah. But the thing that I want to talk to you guys, or I would like to share, I hope it will be quite universal, which leads to our next question. It's a small, short game. I'd just like to ask you guys, what is the first word that comes to mind when you hear me say the word choice? What's the first word that comes to mind when I say the word choice? No right or wrong answer. Luxury, all right. You can type your answer in the chat. There's no right or wrong answer, only what's the first thing that comes to your mind. Freedom, okay. So Ineke is luxury. Sun Yen is freedom with 2 giant exclamation marks. Freedom. All right, how about you, Sun Yen? Oh, Sun Yen's already. How about you, Suli?
I'm still thinking.
All right, okay, cool. Take your time. Michele?
Well, actually, choice is something which, on one hand, it's really like oh, you don't hear me, yeah, I think.
Oh, I hear you now,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Choice is one thing which, when it pops up, what pops up first in my mind is like, as Sun Yen said as well, is freedom, but actually it's also some pressure, because I think nowadays you have so many choices, at least in the world I'm living in, that many people are a bit feel a bit like stressed because they really don't know what to choose, and that's a luxury we have, and that's what popped up in my mind.
Mm. So I'm getting goosebumps as you are saying that, because I think it's a very, very relatable feeling to feel paralyzed by all the choices that we have. With like, because I talked to a few, well, okay, a lot of people, and it seems like it's a pretty universal fear or emotion that most people face. What choice am I gonna make next? Am I making the right choice? So there's all these noises that are going on in our heads. When I read through the speaker's brief for NeoWay, I noticed that one of the key words is practical wisdom. And I thought this would be an interesting problem to address. How to make the right choices. Right. And what is right anyway? So for the past few days, I've been exploring, just like brainstorming this topic. And for this short 15 to 20 minutes, I'd just like to share with you guys a philosophy that I've heard of. It is called Ikigai. I tell by the faces that it's not something everyone's familiar with, like, and then some, okay, cool, I'm ready for Ikigai. All right, yeah, Ikigai. All right, let me tell you what it is. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. All right, cool. Ikigai. Okay. All right, I hope everyone can see my screen. This is essentially, oh no, I'm only going to show you guys this, no worries. And then the rest of it will be like a very casual chat. Okay, this is essentially what Ikigai is. It is a Japanese philosophy, and roughly translated, I believe it means reason for being. And for me personally, this framework really helps me focus on, it helps me identify which areas of my life I should devote my energy, time, and focus to. So if you take a look at this framework, it's made up of 4 interlocking circles, actually. So the first circle is what you love. Second is what the world needs. The third is what you can be paid for. And the fourth is what you are good at. So this philosophy essentially says you need all 4 of these components to live a good and satisfied and purposeful life. So that's Ikigai. And next, I'll be explaining and sharing a bit of how this framework and how this thought process or how this philosophy has manifested or I have used it in my life. But to do that, you guys need to know who I am. So once again, hi everyone. My name is Chloe. Very briefly, what I do, I teach drama and history. So I talk about dead people and I talk about like the living people. Oh, sorry, dead people and I talk about fictional people. So I'm also an author. I love speaking and I'm a storyteller. I also curate shows when I have the time. So that in a nutshell is what I do. All right, give me a second. Yes, that in a nutshell is what I do. All right, I think next what I'll go into is only go into 2 components of Ikigai that I've explored, that I've thought about, because I think maybe those 2 are the ones that are more relatable to kids that are, to students, to kids that are 13 to 17 years old. The 2 components are how I found out what I love and how I found out what I am good at. All right, so it's like 2 stories, 2 separate little stories, and then we'll have a Q&A session afterwards. Okay, so the first story of how I found something that I love. Yes, how I found something that I love. To get to this story, I first have to tell you guys the death of my dreams. Yeah, the death of my dreams. All right, so let me explain. It's not as morbid as it sounds. So what I'm currently doing now, I'm teaching drama and history. I curate art shows and I write. I am quite happy with what I do, and I think that I am in a field where my natural strengths can flourish. But it's not like I immediately stumbled. No, it's not. I immediately stumbled into this area right after college. It was a bit of it's a winding road up a mountain for me. So I did not study storytelling or drama or history or whatever. I actually studied psychology. And when I finished my psychology degree, I initially chose psychology because I was very attracted to the helping fields. Like I really wanted to help people, and I could imagine myself as a psychologist and a therapist. Then in my last year of college, when I got my internship for psychology and I went into a counseling field, I realized to my horror that the work environment did not suit my skill set. As in, I work better with big crowds. And usually in counseling, there's a lot of very quiet one-on-one conversations. And at the end of the day, like my work day and internship, I would feel so drained. Not the normal kind of drain, just like the soul crushing kind of, oh my God, I have to go to work tomorrow kind of drain. So I was at a crossroads then. It was then that I realized that how I imagined a psychologist would be did not suit how I wanted to live. So my dream was like dead, like dead over there, dead in the water. So I had to move on, and I luckily I had several avenues. So I did is I focused some time and energy into dance. I was very lucky to have a small dance studio back where I was in Kuching. Sorry, not have, attended, but I was part of that community there. And I had a really good, amazing mentor who cultivated an amazing culture where everyone was supportive. We all brought each other up. So I thought next, okay, I'm not suited for the helping field, but maybe I can do dance, performing arts. Yeah. I really like dance. All right, cool. So because right now I'm in Kuching, right? So I packed up my bags and I moved to KL, and I found a job in the performing arts industry of sorts. I was working in a small startup. And once again, to my horror, I realized that, the lifestyle of the people that are in the industry is not suited to my skill set, or it's not the life that I would want. Yeah, exactly. Your face palming. Exactly, Suli. That was like my reaction, like the whole 1 month. But it wasn't, oh my God, this is not for me. I think it was a slow build up. It was a lot of events mixed together. And then I realized that, okay, maybe this is not, the thing that I would fit in or what I would like to do. And I think what happened is I quit that job, and I got into teaching just by accident. I never expected myself to be a teacher. So yeah, I was trained and everything, and I started teaching drama, and I realized that for one, I really liked it. It was difficult in a sense that there was a lot that I had to learn, but it was not soul crushing. It was like I would still look forward to going to work back tomorrow. I enjoyed being with my kids. There was a lot of little indicators that told me, okay, this is what you are good at. In a sense, being a teacher is not like being a storyteller, especially if you work in humanities. I think things like drama and history, because drama, a lot of it, for me, in my opinion, is about teaching people how to tell stories, because you're teaching them how to use the body, right? The actor's tool. And for history, it's more of the intellectual aspect. Like, what do you think are the motives of this person? Why do you think this person did this? What event, why did this event lead to this event? So it's all of these things are things that make my eyes light up. It's like, oh, so this is so that, in a sense, is how I found what I really loved. Teaching, yes, but more so storytelling. But it only came after I made peace with the fact that I wasn't suited to this, I'm not happy in this, I wasn't suited to that, not happy to that, and move on. So that's a story of how I found something that I love. All right, the next component is, oh, it's interesting. What I am good at. All right, so in order to share what I'm good at, oh, all right, sorry. Before I move on to what I'm good at, I'm going to go back to something that I love. I just want to wrap it up for a bit. Okay, so chances are, 13 to 17 years old, even people that are older, you all have something that you aspire or you want to do. I think that for me, if there's anything I learned from life, it's that we don't always get what we want, but we do get what we need in different forms. For example, I thought I wanted to be a psychologist, but what I really liked was that aspect of helping people. I thought I was going to be like a performing artist, but what I really liked was the connection with my dance teacher. So those were the things that I really wanted, and I do find them in teaching, in writing right now. So yes, if there's one takeaway message that you can wrap up nicely and give it to you right now, is that we all get what we want, I think, but as long as we're open to the different forms that life will give it to you. If that makes any sense. All right, food for thought. All right, I'm sorry, Michaela? Michaela? Oh yes, am I on time? Do I have some more time?
You still have time, it's fine. You can go on with what you love, the most important thing in life, I guess. So it's really, you're still on time. Keep on going.
All right, cool. Okay, if that's the case, next I will share what I'm good at. All right, and also how I came to find what I am good at. But to do that, I first need to share the shadow, what I call the shadow of my strength, or what people told me was my weakness. Okay, so once again, what I'm doing right now is I'm an author, public speaker, and teacher. And as a kid, I was always labeled as too sensitive, meaning I could always very easily sense how people are feeling. I would always get very distressed if there was chaos around me. I would keep to myself. I would read a lot of books. So my parents were lower middle class, which means a lot of their time was spent just working, just trying to survive. And so a lot of my weaknesses, my sensitivity was not, I feel, properly cultivated. A lot of sentences were thrown around like, why are you so sensitive? Like, just stop crying, you know? It's like, why do you have to react this way? I felt like for a good part of my life when I was younger, people did not know how to cultivate my strength. In fact, it was only recently that I started viewing my sensitivity as a strength. See, if you guys have ever heard of the Big 5 personality test, have you guys heard of the Big 5 personality test? All right, so the Big 5 personality test, all right, Big 5 personality test, it essentially measures 5 components, aspects of your personality. Now, there are 3 traits to it: openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. All right, I'm only going to talk about one, neuroticism, because I measure very highly in neuroticism. All right, so let's talk about neuroticism. The implication is that highly neurotic equals bad. Okay, so I'm going to read what Wikipedia wrote. Neuroticism is one of the Big 5 higher order personality traits in the study of psychology. Individuals who score high on neuroticism are more likely than average to be moody, to experience feelings such as anxiety, worry, fear, anger, frustration, envy, jealousy, guilt, depressed mood, and loneliness. This was just in the first paragraph. So like, am I all those things? Okay, so I really, and I've had this conversation with my therapist, I really don't agree, and she really doesn't agree, so there, with how this is classified, not because it is untrue, but because it's not the whole story. So if we take a look, or we really analyze all of this, moody, experience feelings like anxiety, worry, fear, anger, I think it assigns value to a trait I think is very neutral. Sensitivity to your environment, the ability to take in stimuli and things that are happening around you. So I'm good at that, I think. That's why I think it's only through meeting a lot of similar friends, meeting very good mentors who had similar characteristics to me, who had similar values, that I began to slowly shift my perspective from sensitive equals bad to sensitive equals neutral. It's just what you do with it. All right. So I think the next question is, how does this apply to my work, and how has this shadows of my strength, how has this strength helped me? So what I do is I do public speaking. And because I think of my sensitivity, I can get very in tune with the way that a crowd feels. I notice a lot of small, subtle body languages, like all of this, I usually don't miss. In classes as well, kids react better when they know that you care about them. When you care about them, I think that sensitivity, it really helps with building relationships with people. Especially with my kids. And also, something that I am quite proud of, I wrote a book. So all of that I couldn't have done if I had gone on with the train. Thank you very much. I had a lot of help. A lot of people that were very willing to very freely give me knowledge, guide me. But all of this could not have happened if I had gone on the same thought track as a lot of the, yeah, you're too sensitive, you're too this, and you're too that, and you're too that. So chances are, well, not chances are, I really do believe that each one of you here, no matter how old you are, has a strength, okay? Sometimes shadows or weaknesses, well, I like to view weaknesses as shadows of our strength. And I personally think, because not backed up by anything but anecdotal evidence, that the way forward is not to focus so much on trying to get rid of your weaknesses, but instead focusing on our strengths, so much so that it tempers our weaknesses. And there you go. That's the story of how I found what I love and how I found what I'm good at. Since this is an audience of 13 to 17-year-olds, I'm not going to get too much into the what you can be paid for and what the world needs, because I think these are two components that you will slowly explore as you grow older, when you get out into working, when you go volunteer in communities. This is something that you will slowly discover. And I think that is it from me. Hopefully with this framework, because it helped me so much, it will be able to help you guys make better, or at least feel better about the choices that you're making and where you focus your time and your energy. Thank you very much, guys, for listening. Any questions?
Thank you very much, Ling. Any of the Tansuli or Sanyen, do we have any questions related to what you heard about the dreams and the capacity and the skills of Ling?
Yeah. Or any shared experiences too. I would really love to hear from you guys. Suli, it looks like you're trying to talk, but I can't hear you.
Oh, I have a question. Your book, the title says something about maps.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh my god, you love that. Yes. So, what cartography? So, my book's name is Cartography. Cartography is essentially it's a collection of poems because that was how I processed my emotions. So, what I did is I curated it into several chapters based on what I call my spiritual and emotional journey. So, it goes all the way from um, grief, which is connected to home, um, compassion, which is related to forgiveness, faith, which is connected to hope, I think. Sorry, I
So
Well,
it's
think.
yeah.
basically like how
Yeah.
values are connected to other values, and um, yeah, how one how like you think like one like thing can only be one thing, but it also can be connected to some other things.
Oh my God, yes, exactly. You articulated it better than I did. There you go. It's the invisible connections between seemingly distant experiences. Ah, there, yeah, there. Yes. Any more questions about if you're looking to publish a book? I can always give you advice. Well, I can share. I won't give you advice. I'll just share what helped me if you're ever looking to publish a book one day. All right. Any other questions? Shared experiences? I'd love to hear from you guys.
What was the hardest part about writing the book?
Oh, okay. The hardest part about writing the book was the imposter syndrome. It was funny, right? Because you think it's the physical, it's the practical things that get in the way, but actually it's the mental things. Because there were so many times I was writing, because these are a collection of 3 years worth of poems, right? So I was sitting down and I was writing and I was trying to edit my work. And then there are these little intrusive voices that say, oh, you think you're a big shot now? Oh, you think you're so good? Who'd want to listen to you? Like just very intrusive. Or like things like, oh, it's not gonna be good, like very very little negative internal dialogue that just pops up. So I think for me that was the most difficult. But knowing that I have that negative internal dialogue, what I did is I would share with my supportive friends. Because like I'm naturally quite positive, but sometimes when you're working in a space where you're all alone, it can be quite overwhelming. So what I do is if I'm feeling sad or anything, I just like call up my friends or go out for dinner with my friends. Oh my God, I'm stuck on this chapter. And then they give me like emotional support. No, you're good, Chloe, you're good. Yeah, I want to read it. Yeah.
Chloe,
So yeah.
definitely you are good. I think it's really like impressive the way you describe also like the anxiety and the whatever the problems you encounter through this process of writing this writing down, trying to formulate your passion or whatever you really think that is worth telling to the audience. And I think the process is always hard, or sometimes it's really like important. And I think it shaped not only the book, but it shaped yourself. So I think the process of writing came back to you. So how did this process of writing the book changes whatever you love, your passion, your personality? Can you tell something about that as well?
Oh, yes, yes, I definitely can. I like what you said, how the book changes you.
Yeah.
All right, so I love Elizabeth Gilbert. She's the author of Eat, Pray, Love. I haven't read Eat, Pray, Love, but I really love her book, Big Magic, because of the ideas that are in it. It's essentially a handbook for creative living.
Right.
So in her book, one of her ideas is that, or well, not her idea, it's more like an idea that she picked up from the great ether, right? She says that the book is not your baby, or your art is not your baby. You are its baby.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
that there is a truth to the stereotype that artists are always nervous and anxious. There is a little bit. Yes, but it is because I think of the way that we view art. Art is like something you bring forth from the great ether and then go into the world and craft, and it's your baby. And that's such a, it's a stressful way of being for me. The way I try to think, try, yeah, keyword is try, is that the book, I am the book's baby. So my dance teacher, who's also, I view her as like my mentor, a good friend, she once said that pick a journey, don't pick a journey that's easy. Pick a journey where you know you will grow at the end of it, by the end of it, not the end of it. So I never regret writing this book, even though sometimes it's like, it was quite a stressful experience at some times. But I really got to know how to work with my weaknesses and my strengths. Okay, for example, like how this manifested, what do I mean by working with my strengths? I'm someone who is really bad at deadlines. Like if you let me work alone, like I cannot keep.
I think you're not the only one in this whatever virtual room who has this similar weaknesses.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Thank you. I don't feel so alone right now.
For sure not. For sure not.
Yeah. Yes. But, okay, so what I really needed, I realized, was accountability. Like that's a really good motivator for me. I don't like to let people down. So it's like if I tell you I did something, then like it's like very pressured to not, if I didn't do it. It's like, how do I explain that I didn't do it? So what I did is I had this friend, this is another I find very serendipitous or very magical opportunity. My friend who was a coach had another friend who needed to fulfill some coaching hours. So I got coaching sessions for free. Yes, which was amazing because it helped me, not so much that she helped me plan everything. It was more like I planned everything and she kept me accountable. Because if I don't meet my deadlines, then there's someone I have to explain it to. And that alone was enough to get me like, okay, maybe better finish my marketing plan the day before. All right, better finish my editing. But imagine, right, if I had gone along the thought track of, oh no, I cannot edit. I'm very bad at keeping deadlines. I can never do it. These kind of thoughts are okay. It's okay to make space for them. But I think Elizabeth Gilbert also said that what you do with these thoughts is you don't let them drive. You put them in the back seat. You tell them it's okay. You still listen to them, but you're the one that continues driving. So learn ways to work forward as well. Yeah. So
impressive. Yeah,
I hope
think
that answers your question.
yeah, it does actually definitely putting the deadlines on the back seat. That's something actually, of course, everybody of us should do more and more, especially if you're involved in the working process where the deadlines are really always like in the middle of your thoughts every day, every moment of the day, because you're missing one or you're late, and putting it back and really rely on really what's the goal of the mission you pursue. That's really one thing. That's if you learn that, I think from my point of view, you learned a very important lesson in life, which unfortunately you cannot always pursue because sometimes, I don't know, if you look at back to your concept of Ikigai, you also have the parties which brings you money or which brings you the way of being able to survive in this sort of universe here, and then comes back here, you have a deadline where you have to attend, and then all of a sudden from the back seat the things comes ahead, and then it's in your head, and then you get stressed and you lose the momentum of really the flow when you're really into the thing you're passionate. So it's really trying to fight against this these two strengths, the one who really you want to work on that because you're in the flow and you're really creative, and on the other hand, yeah, but if I'm creating, I will be starving one day, so it doesn't work together. Maybe, you know. And as you know, a lot of artists and a lot of painters or whatever, they follow with a lot of passion there. their way because they have no choice somehow. Some get very famous, but unfortunately many try hard. So that's like the balance, which I think if you look at Ikigai, which is like interwoven, you have the two things going together. So you have to find like sort of a balance between one and the other. And if you went a bit closer to that balance through writing that book, I think you made a very big step ahead. That's really
Yes, I totally agree. I won't get too in-depth into Ikigai because, for one, I'm not an expert. Like, your information is probably as good as mine because maybe we're both reading it from Wikipedia, but it's something that
That's an assumption, yeah.
Also, I really resonated with what you said about the deadlines and then everything, and then life is just like chaotic, and then all these voices and deadlines are coming up. I think especially as I grow older, I realize that for one, that's just life. It's not in a, and I don't say it in a "that's just life, deal with it" kind of way. I feel like I'm doing it in a very gentle, that's just life. You need to cope. But also, one of the lessons I learned in creating my book is deadlines are your best friend, Chloe. Deadlines are your best friend.
Are you kidding me?
Okay, hear me out. Yeah, I see like you guys shaking. Hear me out. So,
well,
what happened?
If I learned from you that deadlines become my best friend, so I learned a lot in just 20 minutes.
Thank goodness. All right, cool. Okay, end the session. We're done. Okay. So, let me share with you guys what I mean. So, in the process of writing my book, I was in between jobs. I was doing a freelance job, but I knew I had a full-time job coming up in December. And I knew that in December, I would not have time to market my book anymore because I did the whole process on my own. So I had to follow quite a strict deadline. All right. And with the creative process, it is eternal because, if you guys go take a look, I don't think it's available internationally, sorry. But if you guys take a look at my book, you'll notice that it only has words in it. This is not the first idea I had in mind. I wanted pictures, I wanted hardcover, I wanted all of these things. But I think I realized that I only had 3 months, for one. I've never done it before, number two. So I needed to manage my own expectations and really ask myself, Chloe, what is good enough for you? I think deadlines do that, or at least they did it for me. Because by the end of, because by the end of the 3 months, I knew that whatever I did, as long as I followed the process, I cannot change it anymore. This is my best, and therefore it is good enough for me. I still try to tell myself that continuously.
From this point of view, like you really, you gave like sort of advice about how to write a good book in 3 months. And I think that may be something which is relevant or interesting for the teenagers as well. So listen, yeah, you can do it. And after 3 months, if you have the mission, if you have the passion, you have the love and the knowledge that all you had in advance, you can do it. I think that's really something.
Sorry to interrupt you for a bit. It's not 3 months, my bad. I misspoke. 6 months. 6 months.
Well, whatever. 6 months is still enough. I think it's really. I think there are some authors which took a bit longer, as I know from history that there are some people writing 15 years on one little book. Doesn't mean that the quality is better there in 15 years, but you manage and you say it's good enough. And I think this perception of saying, yeah, this is good enough. I go for it, and the message the story I want to tell will really find an audience, and it obviously did. The title of your book, can you just tell it? I think is it in Malay, or what is the language?
Malaysia, yes. Yeah. It's in Malaysia. I'm trying to get it on Kindle, so hopefully it'll be on ebook soon. The title is Cartography.
Cartography. Yeah. So the cartography can be translated also into other languages, I guess. So nowadays it's not a big deal, especially if you have it in a digital format, and you will have it. And if you have it as an ebook.
So cool.
So I think there's a next step, and it won't take you 6 months to do that. So
no, it won't. No, it won't.
Would be nice if you could do that as well.
Yes.
Good. I was taking over a lot. Are there any other participants here who want to ask something to Chloe for the moment, or is there anything else would like to talk about her. Of course, there's the other topic we just missed out. You are also a TEDx speaker. I heard about, and I think this is also a topic which is very interesting about your life and about your passion. So the time is almost over, but I can see that the next speaker is not yet here. Is that correct? I didn't check the list of the participants. Oh, yeah. The next speaker is also here. So I think we have still 2 minutes. So if there is a last question, which is from the participants, so please go with the question. Else, if there's no questions, Chloe, thank you very, very much for your contributions. It was lively and for me very interesting. And I learned about the good things of deadlines, which is something which is not obvious in my perception of living. And I learned a lot of other things as well. And please feel free to remain in the session. The next speaker will start now, so you can interact with him as well. You can also maybe listen or learn, maybe hopefully learn also from the next speaker. See you soon, and or whatever. Keep in touch, and we will continue. You can stay here, and we will continue to manage. We will be here next month again, and of course, you are very welcome to join us well. And I hope many teenagers will address you and ask you to help them to write a book, not in 6, but maybe in 7 months. It's also fine. Yes, thank you very much.
Yes, you can always find me on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn if you ever need my help or just like.
So I think if you just write your Instagram, I think that's for the teenager. The Facebook, I think from the 13 to 17 is not so common anymore. But Instagram for sure. If you write your Instagram account there, we will publish it in the stream or in the short video we will produce, and so it will be accessible also.
All right. Should I just type in the chat?
Yeah, in the chat is fine. Thank you very much.
Oh, cool. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, and bye-bye.